What sparks that genuine yearning for something truly special? Historically, luxury brands, they've been absolute masters at igniting that flame.
Oh, completely.
Think of the almost whispered guidance from a Maison advisor, or maybe the weight of a significant watch, bought not just as like a transaction, but as a real rite of passage, a symbol of deep affection or, personal triumph. For giants like LVMH, this carefully nurtured desire has been their bedrock.
It's fascinating, though, how that kind of meticulous control over what we aspire to is now facing a really profound challenge, a completely new kind of challenge.
Absolutely, because in this deep dive, we're tackling a pretty fundamental question for today. As artificial intelligence shapes more and more of our world, who actually commands desire? Are the established luxury titans, the LVMHs, still in the driver's seat? Or are the big tech platforms, the ones designing our digital lives, becoming the main architects of our wants?
Yeah, and to really get to grips with this, we've been looking at a quite thought-provoking op-ed. It raises a specific concern, a major one, for the luxury market. The potential disruption from conversational AIs. Think ChatGPT's new shopping assistant as a prime example.
And the core tension it highlights is, well, it's stark, isn't it? On one side, you've got AI fundamentally driven by convenience, speed, a sort of mass market logic.
Efficiency, yeah.
And on the other, there's luxury. Its power has always come from the exact opposite, hasn't it? From like time-honored processes, a sense of exclusivity, the whole allure of the extraordinary.
Right. So the mission for us today, for this deep dive, is to understand exactly how AI emerging, as the op-ed calls it, a new stylist, even a potential interface of desire, how that could fundamentally reshape things for luxury brands.
Okay.
We need to explore what this really means for their ability to keep hold of that almost magical quality of desirability. It's so crucial for them, especially the big players like LVMH.
Okay, this idea of the AI as a new stylist, that's really grabbing me. The piece talks about ChatGPT's new shopping assistant. This isn't just like a standard search bar, is it? It's designed to learn you, adapt to you.
Exactly. It's described as operating not just on your direct prompts, but crucially on its understanding of your past online behavior,
Mm-hmm.
even remembering previous chats you've had.
Hmm.
So picture this. Someone's looking for a gift, say, for their father. He loves classic watches, only wears navy. ChatGPT can filter options, present really specific choices, and even give justifications and, bang, direct purchase links.
That definitely makes things easier, streamlined. But here's where the op-ed raises that critical flag and why it matters so much for luxury. For the first time, that initial spark, that desire for a luxury item, might not come from the Masons themselves,
Right.
but instead be sort of inferred and then suggested by an AI.
That's a huge shift, a pivotal one.
Yeah.
Because this AI, it's working off algorithms and these massive data sets that might not inherently get or even value the unique principles that luxury is built on. Luxury has always defined itself by being apart from mass trends, and now it risks being, categorized and valued according to them, by convenience, by popularity.
And the potential scale of this influence is just staggering. The
Right.
article mentions ChatGPT gets nearly 1 billion visits a month in the US alone. That's an enormous audience.
It is a massive audience whose perceptions, whose preferences could be subtly guided, nudged.
Yeah.
This isn't some niche thing. It's a mainstream platform. AI is getting more involved in shaping what a huge chunk of the population sees, what they value, and ultimately what they desire. It's going beyond just info provision to actively curating taste on a scale we've never seen.
So what we're really looking at is a fundamental clash, a clash between the core principles driving AI and the very essence of what makes luxury, what makes it desirable.
That's the absolute crux of it. AI is built for speed, for broad accessibility, efficiency, leveraging what's popular, what's statistically likely. Luxury, on the other hand, it thrives on the slow burn, the deliberate investment of time and creation,
Yeah.
on fostering mystique, adhering to rituals, embodying the exceptional, the rare, even on a bit of friction, that inaccessibility that actually enhances the exclusivity.
So the worry then is that instead of a luxury item being really coveted for its heritage, its craft, the story behind it could just be ranked by an algorithm based on, I don't know, trending data or some other simple metric.
The op-ed specifically warns against luxury becoming just another default setting in an AI's recommendations. That intense personal longing that aspirational pull brands have worked so hard to cultivate,
Yeah.
it risks being flattened, reduced to something just deemed relevant, by machines' cold logic.
And how does this algorithmic lens actually change the experience of engaging with a luxury brand? Because so much of that has always been about the human touch, the personalized interaction, the storytelling.
Exactly. The algorithm acts like a stylist, a curator, maybe even a virtual sales advisor, but it just lacks that crucial human intuition. The emotional understanding, the deep appreciation for context, for craft, that's what defines real luxury engagement.
It can't feel the weight of the watch, can it?
Not at all. AI works by spotting patterns, correlations in data. It doesn't understand the culture, the rituals, the symbols, the savoir-faire that gives luxury its soul, its intrinsic value.
The article paints a pretty concerning picture of what this could mean. It suggests that the intricate storytelling Maisons have spent years, decades perfecting could be boiled down to just keywords and thumbnails for machine learning.
Precisely. Those rich narratives, full of history and meaning, designed to forge an emotional connection. They risk being flattened into data points an algorithm can process. The depth, the nuance, it just gets lost in translation.
And that feeling of brand intimacy, that connection a customer might build with a specific Maison, could just become behavioral targeting, another task for optimization.
What used to be a cultivated relationship, a journey of discovery between a discerning client and a brand, it risks becoming just another set of data points. Analyze leverage for the next click, the next sale.
And maybe most unsettling, the op-ed mentions how the actual aura of luxury might get diminished just by being on the same platforms, under the same interfaces as everyday stuff.
That's a really crucial point. In the algorithmic world, everything risks becoming just content. The careful curation, that sense of separation, of exclusivity, that feeling you're entering a distinct world when you interact with a luxury brand. All of that can get eroded when it's just sitting there next to mass-market goods in the same digital feed.
It really highlights that idea that luxury isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something you actively pursue, you aspire to. If AI does the finding for us based on its criteria, what happens to that desire, that intentional chase?
That's the fundamental risk for these luxury houses. They could lose control of their own stories, their own authorship. AI increasingly becomes the main lens consumers use to discover, compare, maybe even decide on purchases.
So instead of being drawn to a brand through its heritage, its iconic designs, maybe a really compelling campaign, you might just be served it up by an algorithm as a relevant option based on, broad data signals.
Exactly. And in that filtering process, the unique essence of each Maison risks getting diluted. They get tagged with attributes, maybe ranked against competitors based on superficial similarities, put in broad boxes like high-end accessories.
But the soul is missing.
But their deeper identity, the very soul of the brand, might never truly be communicated or understood. It gets lost.
It's a subtle erosion, as the article suggests, but potentially devastating. Luxury doesn't just disappear, maybe, but its meaning, its perceived value, the desire it sparks, it gets watered down, redefined by systems that weren't built to appreciate its intrinsic qualities.
Which brings us to the proposed path forward, this idea of cultural AI, as opposed to just, commercial AI. What's the vision there? How can luxury brands navigate this?
Well, this suggestion is that these brands need to proactively develop and, crucially, control their own AI. This wouldn't just be another sales-focused chatbot. It would be an intelligent system deeply infused with the Maison's own unique heritage, its values, its aesthetic codes.
Right. Think of it like an AI meticulously trained on their own vast archives, drawing on decades of understanding intimate customer relationships, embodying the nuances of their craft, reflecting their distinct aesthetic, this cultural AI. It would be designed to understand subtlety,
Okay.
to not collapse taste into mere popularity, to preserve that essential mystery, to curate exclusivity carefully, and importantly, to know when not to suggest something.
Ah, interesting. So instead of an AI trying to guess what you want based on broad market trends, a Maison's own AI would focus on really understanding your individual aspirations, your personal story, your values. The article calls it your myth memory world.
Exactly.
And then it offers something that resonates much deeper, more personally, even if you weren't actively searching for it.
It's a shift in focus, isn't it? Away from just driving immediate clicks and sales towards cultivating a deeper, more enduring connection, rooted in genuine understanding, shared appreciation. And the op-ed makes a strong case that luxury brands actually have a unique advantage here.
They've got the raw materials already,
Yeah.
right? The rich history, the established codes, the emotional connections they've built over years. Big tech has the tech muscle, the data processing, but they lack that inherent cultural capital, that brand soul.
Precisely. So the ultimate question facing these luxury titans, the LVMHs of the world,
Yeah.
really becomes one of authorship. Are they going to actively shape this AI-driven future in a way that protects their unique value?
Yeah.
Or will they just passively let external algorithms define their narratives, define their desirability?
The article really hammers home that the power to frame their own story, to strategically reveal and withhold information, ultimately seduce the consumer on their own terms, that remains the most potent source of enduring desire in this increasingly AI-mediated world.
So the call to action is pretty clear. Luxury brands need to invest, build their own digital spaces, train their own intelligence systems, and fiercely protect their unique brand stories. It's
Mhm.
not about rejecting tech advances.
No.
It's about strategically using them in a way that serves and safeguards the core values of luxury itself.
So the key takeaway for us, wrapping this up, is that the rapid rise of AI as this new interface of desire poses a very real, very significant challenge to luxury maisons, especially those like LVMH, whose whole business model relies on cultivating that elusive mix of mystique and exclusivity.
And the risk, the potential downside, is huge. If luxury brands don't actively step up and author their own AI future, they really risk being redefined, diluted by algorithms that value relevance over the reverence luxury needs. And that could genuinely lead to a decline in the very desire they depend on.
But, as the op-ed points out, there's also a compelling opportunity here. By strategically embracing and really taking ownership of their own cultural AI, these brands have a powerful chance to reclaim their narrative, protect their magic, and actually continue shaping desire in this new tech landscape.
It definitely makes you think more broadly, doesn't it? Beyond just luxury. I mean, if AI is increasingly shaping our desires, our sense of value, what other industries, what other parts of our culture might face similar challenges? Or indeed similar opportunities? What other areas built on exclusivity or deep meaning might risk being redefined by the logic of the algorithm? Something to ponder.